About 90% of children in America are educated through the public education. It's America's most fertile mission field. It's also the largest mission field we have for professionals. There are 3.5 million K through 12 teachers in America, which makes up 2.7% of the workforce. Hi, and welcome to Mid-South Viewpoint. I'm Byron Tyler. Today, we're literally looking forward to talking with my dear friend, Andy Darlington. She is the Tennessee Director of Christian Educators Association International. Andy, good to have you back in the studio.
Oh, it's great to be here, Byron.
What you been up to? I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, just going to the schools, working with teachers, listening to problems with being evaluated, praying with my teachers. It's a full-time job. Well, I have not retired.
Well, I was thinking, of course, you worked over 25 years in public education here in Shelby County. And so I'm really surprised. I thought a school teacher, once you're retired, you're going to be taking, trips to Europe and traveling around the world.
Well, I have done that. I actually did that while I was teaching in the summer. But when I retired, I'm really committed full-time to my teachers and my 17 grandchildren. I have to add that, too.
You've got 17 grandkids. You've added some more to your quiver since the last time we talked.
You're right. They just keep coming.
Oh, that's so exciting. Didn't one of your sons in the ministry, too?
No.
I don't know why I thought that. Did they attend seminary? I was thinking you had.
No.
Why did I think that? I must have you confused. I don't know why
they're
that is.
All very fine Christian men, and they're active in different things in their churches. But no.
Sure. I don't know where I got that. Well, anyway, we want to talk about Christian Educators Association International. And I know this is something very passionate for you. And we got a lot of information we want to share with our listeners and particularly school teachers. And so if you are a Christian school teacher, we need this information in your hands.
Absolutely.
And so we encourage those watching via YouTube or listening to the radio show that they would get that information, out and help distribute that to their Christian educators. It's the most important. And many do already, know about this organization, but many do not know about it. But let's give a little backstory first and when it came along. How long ago was it?
1952. Actually, we were insuring or giving liability insurance for missionaries. That's what we started out doing. And then it kind of grew, and we're in all 50 states and very active. I mean, extremely active now with the climate we're in right now. And the Christian teachers are suffering mightily to fight against the curriculum that they're forced to teach.
Right.
And so we help them. We pray with them. I have teachers that call me during the day. I'm ready to have an evaluation. Will you pray with me? Which I do. It's a battlefield.
Well, one of the things you do, as you mentioned, protecting Christian educators in their profession. Members with coverage can get really three major protections. You pay up to $2 million for damages arising from professional liability and employment liability lawsuits. And I mean, does this actually happen amongst teachers? You would even think there would be liability for lawsuits. A teacher would have to go through something like that. Oh,
yeah. We used to do, our membership services are in Ohio. We used to do 4 a year. We are doing 4 a day.
Oh, my.
That's 4 a day of some problem, some situation. It might be an educational issue. I have a whole lot of things on that. The teacher might be required to teach literature that she figures is not age appropriate and includes profanity, sexuality, and anti-Christian content. And when that happens, they call us and we step in. We have local lawyers. We have a lawyer that's on call 24/7. I'm here. They can call, they can go online and call a lawyer from Liberty Counsel, Liberty University.
It's my understanding, Andy, that all of these services you're talking about are free to the teacher.
No,
that's not true.
No, we pay. It costs $239 a year, $22 a month. That's it. Compared to the union, and that's our main comparison, it's about a third of what they charge. I mean, it's very, very reasonable.
Okay, but with that dues, you're getting all of that legal representation.
Exactly.
If it should occur.
Exactly. You get a lawyer and...
I was looking at some of the benefits that NEA members receive. They get personal guidance and support family wellness, personal finance, travel, vacations, help with your car, retirement planning, when you need it, what concerns that come up. There's also those significant savings for shoppers and vacation tours, car buying, life insurance. I mean, they just tout a lot of things they offer for their members.
Well, that's wonderful, but what do they do for the teacher in the classroom? That's the problem. And they're charging for you. We also have dental insurance. We have Geico. We have a lot of the similar things, but that is not why we're here. We are here to teach a teacher how to live out her faith in the classroom legally.
Yes.
That's it, number one. That's our number one goal.
And, I want to, before we continue on, I was reading an article that Jamar Tisby, he is the president and co-founder of the Reformed African American Network. He blogs about theology, race, and culture. He received his BA from the University of Notre Dame and is currently pursuing a doctorate in history from the University of Mississippi. And he says in an article that was written for the Christian Research Institute in January 2018, for the first time in 50 years, a majority, 51% of children in public schools are considered low income. In my own state, Mississippi, that percentage is far higher at 71%. And he goes on to talk about the reports in education, students in low income. And I'm trying to paint a picture here of what teachers often have to face in their classroom with students. He talks about, as a sixth grade teacher, I couldn't figure out why one of my students kept falling asleep in the class. She typically earned high grades, but inattentiveness wasn't the norm for her. Another teacher told him that the student's mother had died and her single father was working long hours, and she was getting up in the middle of the night to take care of her younger sibling.
Right.
And that repeats itself over and over again. That's just one scenario of just multitudes of scenarios in the classrooms that teachers, but weren't teachers facing those same kind of scenarios when you and I were in school?
That kind that you're talking about with having 4 children that aren't their homes, or yes, we had some of it, but I don't know. When I was in school, I don't believe so. But right now, those yes, that happens. We have these children and we wonder, people say, why can't you teach them to read? Because their mind is not in the classroom. They've got so many other issues. And I've always said that if you take all the teachers, they thought all the teachers in the municipalities are the best teachers. And, you take those same teachers, put them in those same situations, you're going to have the same results because you can't, it's hard to fight. So, but that's not what I do. I mean, that's an issue for the home,
right?
That we need to get
and that's,
churches.
Yeah, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but I wanted to paint a little bit of a picture in the classroom of what teachers and the opportunity that Christian educators have in public education, because they could oftentimes be, who knows, the light in some way.
Oh, I'm sure that's exactly what we plan to be, salt and light.
Yeah.
And, yes, and just the love that we show these children and how much we care for them. And I'm not saying that non-Christian teachers don't do the same thing.
No,
they do.
And this is, and we're not talking about abandoning public education either.
No, well, I'm hoping not. But with our new Secretary of Education in the state of Tennessee, she wants to make all schools charter schools, but I don't want to. That's another issue.
We'll have to have you back on that because I would like to talk about that on a future program. But
well,
going back,
let me just say one thing. They voted for the ESAs, which is another word for vouchers that they're trying to sneak in the door. Educational savings accounts, which is going to be disastrous. It's going to be disastrous to the private schools because they're going to be forced to take these. And if they're forced to take the ESAs, they'll be forced to teach the curriculum. And you might as well stay in any school because they're going to all be teaching the same thing.
Right.
It's disaster.
Yeah.
But that's, I can't, I've contacted them, and our members do a lot. People say, well, the union will help us. No, the union won't, because a union in Tennessee is not a bargaining unit at all. We have collaborative conferencing, which is kind of complicated, and they have to get all the teachers to say that they want them for their union. That doesn't happen. So really, they don't have any more power than we have.
Right. Okay, let's go back to the contrast between NEA, helping teachers in the classroom compared to what Christian Educators Association International does. Something I read, and I don't think this is accurate, but it says the member dues for NEA is $192 a year for full-time teachers. I found
What?
I found it online. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know where you're talking
That
about.
wasn't. I didn't get that from NEA. I found it from another source, but I knew that didn't sound right based on what we had talked about, in previous years.
Is that how much it is a month?
No, well, I think it's annually, but I don't.
No.
But I don't know that.
I have never seen anything like that.
Well,
it's about $600.
Yeah. Well, here's what I want to go forward with is the contributions when the monies that are given from the NEA to other causes. Contributions to political advocacy organizations totaled at least $61 million. And I'm looking back in 2017, 2018 numbers, according to NEA's financial report, but millions more to such groups were also logged as contribution gifts and grants. And there's a whole list here.
Well,
we don't have time for all, but I do want to draw our listeners' attention to one, Andy, if we could. And I think I've got my papers in a disarray here, but I want to find.
Well, Planned Parenthood is their main. They give millions and millions of dollars. $800,000 goes to the NEA to Planned Parenthood. That was in 2014, and I can give you more statistics, but that is why I'm here.
And I found what I was looking for. $300,000 in 2018 was given to an organization called Center for Popular Democracy. Okay. Now, what is the Center for Popular Democracy? I looked them up, went to their webpage before you came in the studio just to find out what they were about. And I just briefly wrote some things down. We are people bending the arc of history towards justice. We are young and old. We are women. We are men. We are queer. We are trans. We are students. We are workers and the unemployed. We are the people whose daily labor is not recognized as work, and still we rise. We come from all corners of the world and from all corners of this country, and we come together today, bold. Together we are powerful, and together we will rise. We believe in justice and equality for all. We believe in the transformative power of love. We believe in our dreams. We believe in each other. Every generation is called to continue the struggle for freedom. We must answer this call and turn back the ugly wave of hate that seeks to divide us based on race, class, gender, religion, sexual orientation, national origin, and other differences. We will rise up as one to stop the billionaires and hate mongers from undermining our democracy, trampling our freedoms, and destroying our planet.
Well, one thing, we're not a democracy, we're a republic.
We are a republic, and that's very true. And I want to close on this last thing that they made a comment on. This was back in March 27th. The U.S. Senate voted on the Green Deal, which we've heard about, the Green Deal.
I know what that is.
That the Center for Popular Democracy released the following statement based upon that. And they say, our climate crisis is too great for half measures or shame votes. But this is exactly what happened today. Instead of taking our climate crisis seriously and responding in kind, today's senators voted against the Green New Deal resolution. Many chose to prioritize the money that they get from oil and energy companies over the future of our communities and our planet. Luckily, there will be future votes. This is just the beginning for the new Green Deal. Moving forward, our senators and elected representatives must take the bold action that we need to build a resilient future for our planet. And so there's nothing wrong with having a safe, clean, healthy planet. We all should be responsible, even as Christians, but this is an extreme radical movement that we're seeing here. And, that is monies that are going to support radical groups like this.
Absolutely. I mean, and all these issues that the teachers are dealing with now, the transgender and the my mom and two mommies and all these things that we're forced to do are supported by the NEA, the National Education Association. In Memphis, we have so many of those unions, it's ridiculous. We have the NEA, which and we have the affiliates. We have the MSCA, we have Shelby County, we have the UA, we have the TEA. Then every one of the municipalities has one. We have GALEA, which is Germantown, Arlington, Lakeland, Education Association, the Bartlett Education Association, the Cairo Education Association, all these different, and they're all feed into the NEA. So if you think that you're giving your dues just to a local, union, whatever, put it in quotes because it's not a union, to help you, you're wrong. Your money is going Very little stays here. The rest of them goes for the state and for the nation, the National Education Association. We don't contribute any of that. We do not, our money, we're not political. It goes strictly to take care of teachers. And you can see $239 a year. I cannot imagine where you came up with $195. I mean, I would have to see documentation.
Well, there was an organization in Pennsylvania that posted it, and maybe I don't know, they might have had something. It was a due for the local, and maybe that was just the local teachers part.
That might be, because you can divide it up and say so much to the local, so much, and that might be.
I think that's what it was, actually.
Well, I can see that. I don't know what the local gets, but but that's possible, because if you divided the $600 that they give, you'd have $100 here, $100 there, and end up about $600. Yeah, it's a lot more than ours. Nobody is reasonable.
And I think it's important too, Andy. You're saying that teachers have a choice. They don't have to go with the benefit package from NEA to get that liability insurance.
No, they do not, but they don't know that. But I will tell you something. I don't know whether you read about it. It's called the Janus case. But we took it to the Supreme Court, started in California, suing the unions for taking dues out of, and people do that here. They'll take the dues out of people's paycheck without their even knowing. You talk to some of these teachers. Did they have any idea what they're paying? They don't even know. And they just redo it the next year and re-up, and so they're paying so much. Anyway, we took it to it ended up in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court voted that the union can't do that anymore. And that's across the country. All unions cannot force you to join the union. Now, Tennessee is a right to work state, and we have been for a long time, which meant the teachers did have a choice here. But evidently, they're very upset now about this Janus thing in other parts of the United States, because they did not have that privilege. But they're also putting pressure on me and us here locally. They have a flyer out that says TEA on one side, Christian educators on the other, and it says you only have one choice. We've always said you have a choice. All we want you to do is know that you have a choice. You don't have to join the union. And they're saying, no, you don't. And they tell all these things that are not true about us. We do not. They said something about we wanted the money to be taken from public education and given to private schools or something. None of this is true. The one thing that was true that they acted like it was a terrible thing is that we work on biblical principles, and we do have conferences where we pray, we trust the Lord to lead us, and it is that's what we do, and we want the teachers to know that, but they think that's a bad thing. So it's really interesting. I am so adamant about that, because their fear that something's going to happen. If anything happens and somebody says you're going to lose your job or something we will step in immediately. And I have all kinds of cases that we have stepped in and said, no, you can't do that. The union cannot force these teachers. But I have schools here that don't have one member of Christian educators. Well, and I was in the lounge, and I was going to speak to the faculty, and this teacher came in and she said, I was in that group when I was a student teacher. And I said, and now? And she just shook her head. I have to.
Yeah.
You got to be a team player. You got to join the union.
They make a pressure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, going back to some of the other funds that NEA's, the dues goes toward, $347,833 in 2018 to America Votes, a progressive issue advocacy group that partners with other big labor groups and organizations such as Planned Parenthood, the Democratic Governors Association, and the Human Rights Campaign.
Absolutely.
And so, I'm just listing a couple. We don't have time. I mean, right. I've got just monies after monies after monies after monies going to these type of groups,
That's right. Let me tell you this kind of run quickly over what we do provide. You mentioned the $2 million liability.
Yeah.
That's twice some of it. Last time I heard, the NEA didn't have that much. And we also have a legal team locally and nationally. Some of they'll say, well, you don't have good lawyers. We actually use some of the same lawyers they do, because there are only so many lawyers locally that deal in educational law. Also, we give them job action protection. And I always tell my teachers, if you're in a conference and they mention a demotion, a transfer, or that you're going to be fired, stop the meeting, say, I will not, the meeting's ended until I can get my legal team, because they'll sit there and I've seen it, and they have really been tortured, it just verbally. And they don't, I say, stop, and I'll go. That's what I do. I go with them if I have to go to the superintendent, I go to the superintendent. If I have to go to the principal, I'll go with them. But they need somebody with them. And that's the wonderful thing when I was teaching, because I had some issues sometimes. And it was of a ridiculous thing, but I would have to get my regional director to go with me. I remember one time I walked in, and the lady, and I won't mention her name, everybody knew her, but she's retired now, said, well, we don't recognize your union. And I said, oh, so, and she said, well, but I'll let you. But at the end of it, she said, yeah, they should have handled that in-house. You shouldn't have been here. This principal just kind of had it out for me. But my motto is, when the Holy Spirit's in you, and we talk to the teachers, you can't just leave him in the parking lot. He doesn't stay out of my classroom. He comes with me, and I think the Christian teachers all feel that way. But they know that they have to do what's legal. Let me tell you an incident that just happened. Some teachers wanted to pray. Teachers can pray during non-instructive hours, during lunch, or on their planning periods in school, as long as students are not present. Well, the administrator didn't know this, and this is another reason I need to educate them, and said they couldn't pray at the school. And so they had to meet at Panera Bread before school. Well, I found out about it. I said, no, you can go to the. So I went to HR, said, would you give this information to the principal? She gave it. So she said, okay, you can come at 7, but the kids don't come till 8:30. She thought it meant kids could not be present in the building. And no, they can't be in the room.
In the same room.
Right. They started out with 5 teachers praying. They ended up with 35 teachers praying on Monday morning in the school building.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, it's just, praise God. I mean, but you have to stand up. And it's a lot of times it's not because the administrator is anti-Christian or anything, but they're scared they'll be sued. They're always scared they'll be sued by parents. They got to watch out because the teachers might sue them. Yeah. I mean, because we will go and we don't want to sue people. We really don't. I mean, we want to work it out. But as I said, we had maybe four cases a year.
And that's increased.
A day.
A day now.
A day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how many we have coming to our office. And we have all kinds of issues. It might be over religious freedom. It might be over educational practices. The curriculum, is not something that we would want to teach. Somebody came and I said, you can ask them if you can teach something else, that this is against your biblical views. And many times they will help you out. But you do it in a nice way. But go back to the union. I just want to hit Thomas Jefferson said, to compel a man to furnish contributions of money for the propagation of opinions, which be disbeliefs, is sinful and tyrannical. And so that's what he said back then. And that's exactly what the union has been doing. They've kind of compelled them to contribute to this. And that's against our opinions and our beliefs.
Yes.
So.
Well, you guys, I know, are in the trenches. You're helping in some incredible ways with Christian educators. And I know that we probably have many watching, listening right now, Andy, want to know, how can I learn more? How can I sign up? Can you just leave? When is enrollment?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. The union will tell you that you have to wait for this window in May or at the beginning. That's not true at all. And all they have to do is come to me, and I'll give them the form. They have a form that tells them to quit taking it out of their paycheck. And then one says, I resign. They do these 2 forms, take it down. It's done. It's a done deal. Now, they'll try to keep you from doing it, thinking, okay, by May, you're going to be wanting to leave school. You're going to be tired and you're not going to remember. So they'll redo you and you're automatically in again. And they just keep doing that. But you can get out anytime. And I know they'll tell you, but that's not right.
So you can get out anytime, and then you can get into Christian Educators Association International anytime.
Anytime. Yes, you can get in. And if you want to join both, that we're fine with that. If you feel like, well, I got to join that, but I'd love to join Christian Educators, well, welcome to the board, $22 a month. I have this little brochure. I wanted to kind of speak to you a little bit about the teachers' religious rights and the children, but the students have all kinds of religious rights. They can do just about anything. They can bring Bibles. They can, and we, I did start the Christian club at Houston High School. It was one of the largest clubs on campus. We called Student Impact. Wonderful. Once a month, we could meet, pray, sing hymns, do whatever. It's a wonderful thing, and that's something you can do. Also, teachers can form Christian clubs after school. Our church has one at Riverdale. Has a little Christian club after school. Child Evangelism Fellowship also does the same thing, and so the teachers, you might not be able to talk to them in the classroom, but after school, you can do it if you're willing to work long hours and do it after school.
Something that you handed me as we started to do our interview today with this little bracelet. You want to tell us about this?
Yes, it's called Tetelestai, and this has AD 33. Tetelestai are the words that Jesus used when he was on the cross, meaning it is finished. Now, I wear that, and I know some other teachers that do, and a student might come up and say, what does that mean? And we say it's a word that means it's finished. And they'll usually say, what's finished? We'll say those were the last words spoken by Jesus on the cross. It's finished. All of our sins have been paid in full. And it's a great introduction. We can't just walk up and start talking to them about religion, but that bracelet is a wonderful tool. I know a lot of teachers are wearing it. And of course, in elementary school, they might not ask, but other teachers might. Just people on the street. I think it's a wonderful thing. I've ordered them for all of our teachers.
Yeah, so, thank you so much for that. I'm looking forward to wearing that. Looking forward to conversations this might open up for me. I'm looking forward to that.
AD 33 is when Jesus died.
Yeah. I'm very thankful for that too.
Yeah, aren't we?
Okay, so Andy, as our show is wrapping up now, let's give our listeners and watchers some details of what they can do to get more information. Are there meetings? Do you have local meetings here?
No, we don't really have those. We're having events and I do a lot of going to schools and having lunch in the schools for the teachers, for our members, and we're having an event. It will be in April. It's called LIFT, Lasting Impact Fellowship for Teachers. We used to have meetings, but teachers really don't want meetings.
And you said in April. Now we're at the end of April right now.
It's next year.
Next year, April. Next April.
A year,
okay.
Right, next year.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be probably at Bellevue. That's where we're. They're always so wonderful to accommodate us, and so we'll do that. But really, we had meetings, and we met at Rafferty's every Tuesday or once a month. Teachers are tired. Yeah. They don't want to go to more meetings. Yeah. So that's not, they don't do it. But we communicate with them all the time through Twitter, through Facebook, through emails. I text teachers. I call teachers. And then they know we're here. But some of them don't. Some of them don't know we're here. And so that's why I'll sit in the teacher's lounge and tell them about Christian educators. And they'll say, well, I belong to the union. They're not doing any good. They're not helping me at all. And then they still stay. But nearly all the Memphis Teacher Residency Program is a fabulous thing here. And the student teachers belong to Christian educators. The thing is to try to keep them to stay once they start teaching, not get influenced once they get into school and be persuaded, because these are Christian kids.
Right. Okay, so give the web address, maybe Facebook too, if you've got one of those addresses.
We have Facebook, Twitter. It's CEAI.org. That's it.
Okay, and go there. You can get links to all those other sites.
Everything, and it tells you everything you need to do. It's very well done. It has all this information about the NEA that you need to know. We have a Bible study called Shine Like Stars that one principal just loved it. She said, this is great because now the teachers are discussing this in the lounge and they're not complaining. So, we have so many resources, and they're not in the same vein as the NEA might. These obviously they're not going to do any of the things that we do, but it's CEAI.org. It'll come up. You can join. We even have a free membership that you can join, be a member. You'll get some of the perks, but you won't get the liability insurance. But you can, you can get all the information that we send out, and we'll pray for you. We have a devotional every day. It's called 180 Days Around the Word. Every morning it comes on if they get it on their phone or something, and it helps them start their day in the right way. It's a fabulous organization.
Wow. Andy, it's so great to have you back, and you're going to have to not be such a stranger to the program. Come back and do some more updates. I know there's some other issues on your heart we could talk about, but thank you for what you're doing for Christ's kingdom in the way of helping Christian educators and what they do and taking care of our precious commodity, our children.
Right. Thank you so much, Byron. You're so nice to have me, and I just appreciate what you do.
God bless you. Well, friends, that's all the time we have on this edition of Mid-South Viewpoint. I do appreciate you stopping by. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Byron Tyler, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. And YouTube watchers, thank you so much. Please subscribe to this channel. Please share this video. Get the word out. Help support Christian educators where you are. Let them know about this great organization. It is international, so you might be watching somewhere outside the United States. You can still benefit from their services. Check them out.
Okay.